Hey guys, we got the watch list video here for Monday, June 21st. This green line here is the 60 period moving average, but it's pretty close to the 50-day. I have a 50-day on a different chart. This is on 60s. Well, all you members know why, because this is generally my 5-minute chart, and you know I like that 560 area. Having said that, if you just think of it as the 50-day here, you can see the SPY itself has held the 50-day, pierced it a couple times back here and back here, but right above, held it here, 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 and it just closed right at about the 50-day on Friday. And the Dow was down over 500 points, so kind of an ugly day. Here's the intraday to get a look at the big gap down, the sideways chop, and just kind of a channel all morning or all day until the very end of the day, kind of flushed. But we've got FOMC week behind us. We've got quad witching behind us, so hopefully some more normal trading. We'll see, right? A couple highlights from Friday for those that didn't make it to chat. Wayne gave us LEDS through 1980, which was after the pop, put it on his radar, hit 1980, came back down, called it long through there. If you scroll back a little bit, you'll see that 1980 was relevant a few days ago also, so that made it kind of interesting. And from the 1980 break, it went up to 2147. Pretty nice call by Wayne. He also gave us Wish over this early high right here, 1132. So 1133 was his idea. And you notice green right away and went all the way up to 1210. So a 70-cent move in our favor on about 20 cents risk. And I gave GERN over this early high right here, 165. Right there, called it opening range breakout, 166. And exceeded expectations, went all the way to 223. Really nice percentage gain there. 57-cent move on probably about a dime risk. And so that was some highlights from Friday. So what are we watching for Monday? It's a little bit of a weird list, right? And you'll see why here. UTME had literally this crazy range from a high of $75.80. This was Thursday, all the way down to 1481. So I put it on bounce watch, just looking for an oversold bounce, and it never gave an entry, never gave any kind of setup that we teach. And it just ended up another red day, but you could argue the tape was pretty weak. This definitely goes on bounce watch again, looking for an A+ intraday setup, or I will not trade it. NOVN, again, had the big move, and then they did the offering, but still, I'll switch to 15-minute candles. Since the big day, there's the big day, then the next day, put in its high early. These are 15-minute candles. So actually on the gap up day, it put in its early high about an hour in. The second day, in about the opening 45 minutes, put in its high. And then look at this. The next day, opened at its high of the day, put in its high in the opening 15 minutes. The next day, and the next day, maybe in the opening 30 minutes, and then also on Friday. So what we don't have is an afternoon high of day break. You guys know I love these strong stocks that pull back. I love that afternoon high of day break. So like, for example, if NOVN in the afternoon, here was the early high, was 1040 or 1147, sorry. In the afternoon, if this would have broken through 1147 to the upside, to me that would have been an A+ setup. It never did. Back to 5-minute candles, it never did. So that's what I'm looking for specifically on NOVN. Otherwise, I probably won't trade it. ALZN's only been trading for 4 days, but it's red every day. And if you switch to 15-minute candles, you have the same scenario. There's opening day, then the next day, put in its high early the next day, and Friday also. We're looking for an afternoon breakout in that as well. ARKK, again, these are some weird charts, aren't they? RCON, kind of the same thing. Let's switch to 15-minute candles. There's the big day that it had the nasty reversal. Let me scroll forward to get that big day out of there. The next day, early high, put in its high early, put in its high about 45 minutes in, and drifted lower the rest of the day, and the same thing, and the same thing. So we still didn't get an afternoon breakout in that one either. That's what I would consider an A+ setup if we get an afternoon break out of a somewhat tight range. All right, so there's several of those. UONE is a little bit of a different kind of a bounce play. Really strong move, pulled back then a rip for about 2 weeks straight, and then in 4 days undid all of that, right? So this just goes on oversold bounce watch. It's also sitting right at the 50-day. TRCH, very strong on Friday. All right, anyway, very strong in a weak tape, right? So we're going to keep our eyes on that one just because of the relative strength. GERN, I already told you I called this one on Friday over $1.65 and closed well off its highs, but you could make the argument maybe that was because the market was so weak. So we're going to watch that one. Wish goes back on bounce watch. It's holding up pretty well. And that's kind of become a cult stock, so I definitely want to keep our eyes on that. Made a really nice move for us on Friday. Did I talk about Wayne's call on Wish? Yeah, I did. Sorry. All right. Okay, so then what's after that? ALF. ALF extremely strong in a weak tape. I actually thought if it wasn't Friday, you might have got some after hours action out of it because it closed so strong in a weak tape, but there really was no after hours action. I watched it for a little bit and then said, you know what, it's Friday, I'm done. But really, really strong in a weak tape. So we're going to watch that one. SWBI is the old Smith & Wesson. Very strong day. And if you go to weekly candles, I'm pretty sure it's sitting close to all-time highs. Topped out Friday at 23.63, and then way back here, it had hit 23.57. So it briefly took out the January high. And let me go to monthly candles. These are monthly candles. So it looks like in 2016, it hit very close to 24. So you could argue over that as all-time highs. I don't know how relevant that is when you go back that far. But anyway, suffice it to say, very strong day. I think they had earnings, and gun sales are through the roof. So that is certainly worth watching for a follow-through day setup. This isn't on the list, but POWW over 8 might be interesting. It's an ammo play. That just made me think of it, but it's not on the list. LEDS, talked about Wayne's call on Friday. It's holding up pretty well and seems to have found support around 18. And you could, again, maybe argue it closed weak because the market closed weak. It's making big moves lately, so we want to watch that one. AVXL, talk about relative strength. Let's keep our eyes on that one. And then lastly, GLBS, which is a shipper, and I think they reported earnings, maybe. They reported something after hours. Anyway, I think it was earnings. And in after hours, it went up to almost $6 and closed out the after hour session at $5.75. So we're looking at a potential gap play tomorrow. And if it does gap and rip, then we'll also look for all these sympathy play shippers as well. So hopefully there'll be plenty to trade on Monday. I'm pretty optimistic about it. I'm done babbling. We'll see you guys in the chat room on Monday morning.